y'all. Welcome back to Living Black Podcast with your host, Arby and
Nayla.
And a co-host of
Hi, I'm Dylan.
And today, Dylan is going to be our guest co-host. And yeah, so for today's episode, we're going to be talking about toxic relationships and mental health within a Black household. So basically, within today's topic, it's just going to be a reference to how Black households run within mental health, and we're going to explore how toxic relationships do exist within a household.
Yes. So do we want to start off with the question of the episode?
Yes, we sure can.
Okay. So today's question of the episode is, should Black parents revise their sense/form of parenting?
I'll go first.
Mm-hmm.
My opinion on that question is some parents should revise their sense or form of parenting because not everybody's form of parenting is accurate, and also it could be very damaging to the child on how they parent, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah, I agree with you. Not all parents, but some parents should change how they parent us because sometimes it can be a little overboard.
Yeah, I believe they should maybe revise their parenting because, it could leave a scar on their child. And I know that's not how I'm going to parent when I'm older.
I agree with you 100%.
Mm-hmm.
So, with this question of the day or the episode, we're going to release our subtopics for today's episode. So, first up, we have Black kids and expressing their feelings or how their mental health is settling to their parents. Then our next subtopic is why are parents being toxic in the first place? What is the stem of that? Another one will be, why do some Black mothers believe that their daughter is up for competition against them? And our last subtopic will be, why do parents think that we're lying or joking around when we try to talk to them about serious things?
Okay, so for the first subtopic, which is when most Black kids are telling their parents that they're depressed, having anxiety issues, the parents throws it to the side or disregards what they're saying. My thoughts on that are I haven't personally lived that or experienced that, but I have seen it, my friends have experienced that and stuff. And I think our Black parents mostly do that because they are very hard and very disciplined because of the way they were raised and what they were taught, and that type of stuff, what they were taught and how they were raised. So they're very hardcore, and that leads into their parenting. And so when we talk to them about these issues that we have and stuff like that, they kind of just put it to the side or disregard it because they're not used to that type of stuff, because in their households they were taught to just always be strong and be strong and basically, I guess, keep their feelings inside and not talk about those things.
I completely agree with Nayla. Most parents use an old-fashioned way of, doing things, and that's because they got it from their parents, and that's how they were taught to raise and do things. And that's why most times when kids are like, "Oh, I'm depressed," blah blah blah, they put it away and they put it to the side because they want their kid to be just like them.
I agree with you entirely. So within this subtopic of when Black kids are expressing to their parents that their mental health is falling apart and the parent is throwing it to the side, or maybe sometimes in response to the child speaking up to them about that, they'll say something like depressed, my A word. We all know what that means. So the breakdown of that subtopic is, the problem with that is we've grown into the standard as a generation or race that mental health does not matter. As Black people ourselves, we have a lot to fight for, and our mental health really is very key to us to keep our strength and to keep going as individuals. And Even though we have a lot of work to do to make sure we're fighting for equal rights and making sure our children or the future generation don't have to live in a segregated or racist world, that is perfectly fine. And it's always important that we take care of ourselves no matter what. That should always be a top priority and ensure we are never overdoing what we're doing. And when your mental health starts to decline, it impacts your behavior as well. So, as a response to that, you should take a seat and try meditating for a few minutes or even closing your eyes, not sleeping, to a soft song of your choice, and feel free to hum along to it and just express your feelings. So, does anybody have anything else to say in response to this topic?
I don't have anything else to add.
No, I have nothing to add.
Okay. So, our next subtopic is, why are parents even being toxic in the first place? What is their issue with that? We know that some parents, and it's very common, I've seen this actually on TikTok, people make videos about it. Parents sometimes are being toxic to their kids, and they're promoting an unhealthy relationship between themselves and the child. And that's it's not very good to have within a household, because toxic relationships really can hurt somebody. And when you stem that in your child, of how you take care of them and how you're being an adult towards them, when they get older, they're going to think that's okay. Yet most of us from Generation Z, we already know that we won't be treating our children like that, because the type of, or the standard of parenting from Black parents is like, it's not very good. And it's just not something that we want to do to our kids, because mental health, like I mentioned earlier, is very important. And doing things like that is really no good towards a child.
I agree with you. And to add on to like Gen Z knowing how we'll treat our future kids or whatever, times are changing. Like back then when our parents were born and they were being raised, they were taught different things and things that we may not agree with today. But moving on forward, hopefully things like that start changing more, just for the better of everyone.
Yeah, I believe most parents, their way, it's kind of getting old. And so I think us, the newer generations, I think we should come up with a new way of, how to treat our kids and how to deal with certain situations.
I agree.
I agree as well, entirely. So, would anybody like to start off our next subtopic?
Our next subtopic is why do some Black mothers believe that their daughter is up for competition against them, or that their daughter is fast? So I believe that. Oh, you can go ahead.
You can go. No, you're fine.
Okay. So I believe that some Black mothers think or believe that their daughter is up for competition against them, because nowadays our parents or our mothers and like mostly call us like fast or stuff, I guess. Like they may call us fast because they think we're going too quickly with the things that we do, the clothes that we wear or whatever. And I feel like they think we're up for competition because back then, as I said, the standards are changing. So back then, when they were growing up and being raised, maybe the things that we're doing now, they wouldn't have been doing at that time. So they think that it's a competition, even though it's really not. It's just times are changing, things are changing, the standards are changing, and everything else. So that's what I think.
So I don't really have any experience with this because I'm a male. So, but I have a little sister, and my mom, she likes to put her in a lot of things. She's in like cheer, she's in gymnastics, she's in a lot of stuff, and she just wants her daughter to be competitive and make sure that she's doing the best she can and being better than others. And honestly, I don't think she should be putting that much pressure on a female who's only 5. And so, really, I don't know how to add on to anything on what I'm talking about, but That's the stuff I've experienced because I have a sister, so I don't really have anything to add.
Okay. So another thing that we took note of from our topic today is that Black parents can be so tough on their kids only because they want what's best. But sometimes it can be taken overboard by the things they say. And because Black parents are so hardcore, it's hard to talk to them about certain topics. And in response to the topic we were just talking about, of why some Black mothers believe that their daughter's up for competition against them, I haven't experienced that personally because I don't think my mother really does that. But um, something that I notice a lot, and I've heard this from social media, is that, you know, this generation, we dress however we'd like to. And, we're all up for body positivity and things of that sort. And it's just the fact of that, we're getting of that age where we just want to wear whatever we'd like to. And some of us don't really care about other people's opinions. Yet, some of us also do get kind of hurt when people express their opinions about what we're wearing. And that's understandable. And within the Black community and just parents in general, they don't like us to show off our bodies, I guess, because we're able to get sexualized and things like that. And like in our previous episode, or I think a couple of episodes before, we were talking about how young girls' bodies get sexualized like that, and it's not okay. And it should never be standardized, or it should never be normalized, because it's not okay. And within this type of topic, I don't believe that mothers should believe their daughters are up for competition against them, because once again, your daughter is your daughter, a younger version of you. They don't have to be exactly just like you, but they are your daughter. And you're supposed to teach them how to guide themselves in this world and be independent and not always have everybody up for competition. Because that's something that a lot of girls that I've encountered think, that all these other females that they come in contact with are up for competition against them. And that's not the case. Not everybody is here to be better than you, and you're not better than somebody else just because you think that you are prettier than them or they're prettier than you. You pick the case.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And also to add on to that, women in general can be very like judgy on things, and especially Black women. Instead of bringing, like, most Black women always want to bring each other down because they always think everything's a competition, but it's really not. And everyone should try to bring each other up because that's all we have. Like, we're all sisters, just treat each other with respect.
I agree entirely. So, our last topic for this episode is, why do parents think that we're lying or joking around when we try to talk to them about serious things? So I'll start off this topic, but we actually have a TikTok that Nayla found out. I'm sorry. Yes, Nayla found out. Sorry. Nayla found on TikTok. So basically, what the TikTok talks about is, some girl was like, why does this generation always be in their room all the time? And most of the comments on the original TikTok video, they were like, we sit in our rooms because it's our only safe space in some houses. And it's also where we aren't judged and we're able to be free and be who we are. Now, from those comments, I can totally agree. And also, some of us are also depressed and facing mental health issues where our parents, they don't agree in mental health, and they think that something's actually wrong with us. So they judge us all the time. And, our rooms are only the safe space for us.
Mm-hmm.
I think why most parents think like when we're lying or joking around when we try to talk about serious stuff is because they probably think we're lying, and because we don't talk about serious stuff often as children. And I just believe like they probably never talked about serious stuff with their parents when they were a kid, and so That's why it probably carried on to them, and they were like, "Oh, you're probably joking around. This isn't true." Blah blah blah, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's very true. And also to add on to that, most black people, or at least black people that I've been around, are taught to like bottle up their emotions or feelings and thoughts and like just keep them to themselves. So, and I feel like our generation is more open to talking about that type of stuff. So nowadays when we go to talk to them about these certain things like our feelings, emotions and stuff like that, they think it's a joke or we're lying because they're not used to hearing that, because when they were growing up, as Dylan said, they weren't used to like expressing themselves and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And another thing that our parents come from, like the generation they come from, they've normalized a lot of things that shouldn't be normalized. And our generation, we're trying to like not normalize it anymore because it's not something that should be normalized. And it's something that is also very detrimental to somebody's health. And I'm not going to get into parents spanking or whooping their child because we're going to talk about that in another episode. But that's one of the forms of parenting, Black parenting, that does not sit right with me. So, as we're ending off this episode, does anybody have any tips or any type of conclusion to put towards toxic relationships in Black households and how mental health can be handled?
One tip, or I guess idea, I guess, or tip, whatever, is don't bottle up your emotions. Like, try to speak about those things. Even if your parents don't want to listen to you, still try to talk about it, because bottling up emotions and your thoughts and stuff like that definitely isn't good for you or anyone else. So even if they won't listen, still try to talk to someone about it.
I have nothing to add on.
Okay, that's fair. So, as I mentioned in the first topic, I believe we should always remember to meditate. If you agree with meditating, that's up to you. Or taking a seat and listening to some of your favorite music and, just singing along with it. Or maybe even getting a journal and expressing your feelings and thoughts. And if necessary, try and find you a therapist, someone to talk to that understands your problems and can help you further push you through what's going on in your life. So as we end off today's episode, I just want to remind y'all of our socials. Our Instagram is living_black.podcast. That's living_black.podcast. You can follow us on there to keep updated on when we have a new episode, which is always Mondays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Like, who doesn't know that? And also, we have our Spotify, which some of you are already listening to us through. Make sure to follow us. And our link tree is located on our Instagram bio. So just click that link and it's going to show you our Discord server link, our Instagram page, I believe, our Spotify page, and our YouTube page.
And if you're listening to us through YouTube, you can find the Linktree link in the description down below.
Yes. So does anybody else have anything else to add for today's episode? Anything you want our listeners to know about?
I want to thank Dylan for tuning in and giving his thoughts on this topic. We were happy to have you for this episode.
I was happy to be here as well.
Yes, thank you, Dylan, for showing up and being here to support and just being here in presence. So that ends today's episode, and I hope y'all enjoyed it. And